this video tutorial, I'm going to walk you through how to execute your Cypress automated test project in order to integrate with the TestRail CLI and upload your test results to TestRail. All this in just a couple of lines in your terminal. We are going to use a sample project that you can find on the TestRail GitHub repository where we have our samples. And let's jump straight to our script. Like you can see, our script is very small. It only has 5 steps, and all of them are quite straightforward. So the first step is to install your test project, and you do so by using npm install, which is how you install a Cypress project. So I'm going to run that in my terminal, and in just a couple of seconds I'll be able to gather all the packages required to run Cypress. And there we go, all the packages have been downloaded and added to the project. Before actually running the Cypress test using the line on the second command, we are going to open Cypress itself and see on the UI what these tests are all about. So to do that, we just write npx cypress open on our terminal, and it should open the Cypress UI. And there we go, we can see that we have an end-to-end testing project configured. So let's open that. I'm going to select Chrome and start end-to-end testing in Chrome. And it's now opening the Chrome instance where we can run our Cypress tests, and we can see that it found two test suits. So to do interactions and to do smoke. And we can just try out one of them just to see the results. So let's see this one. So it's going to run a couple of tests, and we can see it running on the main panel. It's now running the third test, and we can see that this third test failed. We can see all the logs, etc. And we can see that 2 other tests have passed. So this is what our test project is doing. It's running a couple of tests. One of them is failing on purpose, so we can see how it is displayed in the results. So now let's close this and go back to our command line. So usually running tests through the UI is good for debugging purposes, for creating your tests, but usually when you are executing your tests in a pipeline, etc., you will want to run them using a command line. To do that, you can just use the Cypress run command. So you would do npx cypress run, and then to integrate with the TestRail CLI, we just need a couple of options, which is the reporter, because the TestRail CLI requires a JUnit report and Cypress provides one out of the box. So you just need to pass the reporter option using the JUnit value, and then some reporter options in order to configure the reporter. In this case, what you need to know is that we need to use this hash placeholder here, because this will make it so that each test suite will generate an individual report and not overwrite the report every time a new test suite is executed. So let's run this command and see what happens. Now Cypress is starting, and it's making a couple of checks, no worries here, and it's now starting to run our tests. It's running to do interactions. We had 3 tests over there. One of them was failing, so that's why it takes a little longer too. And it took 7 seconds, all good so far, and now it executed the second suit, and we can see that on to do interactions we have 2 tests that passed, 1 that failed, and on to do smoke we only had 1 test and it passed. And what we can see now is that it generated some reports. These reports follow the JUnit standard, which is supported by the TestRail CLI in order to upload the test results to TestRail. So let's take a look at one of them. This is for interactions. Like we can see here, the interaction suite, and we can see that we have 1 test case here that passed because it doesn't have any inner element, another one that passed, and then we have this test case that failed because it has a failure element in it. And now we are going to go to the TestRail CLI bit. So first we need to install the TestRail CLI, and we can do that with this command. It requires Python to be installed in your machine, and we recommend Python 3.10 and above. And it's been installed. And now we are going to use this next command to merge the reports. So we use this glob pattern to find the reports, and the reports are in this folder. So it's reports, JUnit, and then anything else, and it will merge the reports into one report called JUnit report, which we will then use with the CLI so we can upload our test results. So let's just run this. And it very quickly merges the reports, and we can see a new report here which has both the smoke tests and the interactions tests. So this is the report we want to upload with the TestRail CLI. And now to upload it with the TestRail CLI, we just need to use this last command. This command is in multiple lines just to be easier to read, but what we have here is a call to the TestRail CLI. Then we are using the -y option. This option makes the TestRail CLI create all entities for you. So we are using a code first approach where all tests from your automated test project will be automatically created in TestRail and the results will be submitted. So the first thing you have to do is set your instance details. So in this case the -h means host, and you add your host here, and then the U for user, we have our user email here, and then P for password. We recommend you to generate an API token instead of using your password directly, but for this purpose this is good enough. And then the project you want to submit your results to. In this case we have set up this project. And then you send in the command, the parse JUnit command. This is one of the options in the CLI, and you use the F option where you define the path to your report, the report that has the results that you want to upload, and finally a title for your test run. This is a very basic example. There are more options you can use in the TestRail CLI. Just check the help, check the documentation, and you will be able to do a lot more than this. But for now, let's just execute this. And we can see that the TestRail CLI found 4 test cases in 2 sections. It's now checking the project, and it checked the project successfully, and it will now create the test cases and upload their results. In order to use this code first approach, you need to set up your TestRail project to have a custom field that is named automation ID. You can find information about how to do that on our documentation. And we can see that the test run was created and the results were added. And we have a very convenient link here, so we can go straight to our instance and see the results there. But let's first come here and see the test cases in our TestRail instance. So we didn't have any test cases, and now we have a couple of test cases. So for the smoke suit and the interaction suit, the test cases were automatically created. And if we expand the test, we can see that they have the automation ID. This automation ID is made by the name and the class name on the report. So it will match, for each test case, it will match the class name. So class name here plus the name here. Actually, class name dot name. And so we have our tests here. The TestRail CLI is able to map the tests, and it created a run using these tests. So we can see that we have our Cypress automated tests like we specified on the title, and if we open them, we can see the test results. So we see that for the smoke suit, the test passed, and on the interaction suit, one of the tests failed. If we click on the arrow here, we can see the error message that is translated from the report to the result, so you can more easily debug what happened but you will likely have to also debug the test through the Cypress UI. And this is how you integrate your Cypress tests with TestRail using the TestRail CLI in just a couple of lines in your terminal. I hope this was helpful.